Remember the skin that you made with your puff paint? Well, we're back to making a skin again. And this is the kind that most people really like. These are acrylic skins made with pouring medium or varnish. If you make one with varnish, you need to varnish multiple layers over the top of your skin once it's dry. But with the pouring medium skin, you only have to pour it out and add your color, and then once it's dry, then peel it off and it's ready to adhere to a painting. So I'm pouring out about a 3-inch diameter skin, and I can see that there's kind of a slope to my floor because my table is going that way, going towards the wall. So I have to be careful that you might do something more level, and since this is self-leveling, and level it out. And you can put drops of your high flow or your regular acrylic into the skin, into the pouring medium, and let it run just like we did on our plate. And I've got purple and blue here. That should make really a pretty skin that I could use there. And then you can take a paintbrush or a stick or some type of tool if you want, and move the paint around a little. You see that my skin that I poured right here, it's just made kind of circle shapes. So I'm going to run this stick here through the skin and kind of mix the colors up a little bit. And it is better to leave it exactly where it is until it's dry. So you might want to find yourself a place around the countertop, and be sure to label your bag, because there won't be any argument then on whose skin is which, because sometimes that happens. They all kind of start looking like the one that they thought they made, because it does move. So you take your Sharpie and write your name across the top and go over to the counter and play with making your skins, and then leave them to dry, and by the next day then they will be ready to pull off. And so I've created kind of a twirling psychedelic looking marble effect, and again, that could be really pretty on one of your stones, or you could actually collage that, cut it up, tear it, and collage it into part of your painting. Now that's one made with the pouring medium and the high flow, and so I'm going to do one next to it with a gloss varnish. And the big difference between pouring medium and gloss varnish, you see they're both fairly thick here. This bottle is older, Liquitex, is that the gloss varnish may not dry crystal clear, and the pouring medium is made so that there is a guarantee that it will always be totally purely clear. And then this is quinacridone gold, which is a beautiful color, and you can see it's quite transparent. And we'll let that dry and see what happens. Let's see if I can get some quinacridone in there. And I'm going to put a little bit of turquoise next to it. This is teal, and this one's high flow and that one isn't. Put a couple drops of teal around. Black would be pretty, because then that's kind of like turquoise jewelry. And then I'm going to take and add a little bit of gold paint. And this is, you could use the regular Liquitex or golden paint. This is Folk Art pure gold metallic that I bought for you all to use. We're going to do kind of a rub and buff thing with it. And since the turquoise is more opaque and are more transparent and will spread faster, I'm going to go ahead and do the gold with the quinacridone and the turquoise. And you can just let it do what it's going to do if you want. But the main thing that you want to have happen, and if this gets too thin, now when it's done, I'll have to add more layers of the varnish on top of it so that it will come off of my plastic. But I'm just going to twirl that around, and we'll see if that if there's a bigger difference between the one that's transparent and the one that's more opaque. And you can see as they're sitting side by side, this one does look a whole lot more milky than this one that's done with the pouring medium. That should be fairly transparent when it's dry, and this one may not.